Hey everybody, Marcus Crawford here with the Idaho Quadcopter channel. Hey, I've got a Fimi drone today. Now, admittedly, it's not the new Fimi X8 Mini. I would love to have had one of those by now, but mine is on its way to me, and as soon as it shows up, we're definitely going to get that thing in the air. But in the meantime, the folks over at Banggood sent me the Fimi A3. Now, the Fimi A3 is a drone that's familiar to me. Let's see, I probably first flew this drone in the summer of 2019, and I'll be honest with you, I had some issues with it. As I recall, it flew pretty good, but the big issue was this camera on the front, the lens fogged up on it. As soon as you would raise at an altitude, the lens would fog up. And the fix at that time, what they told you to do was you had to heat up the lens cover, pry it off, and then dry it out, and then glue the cover back on or something. Yeah, I don't know. It was a long thing. It's something that I didn't feel like I was capable of. But in fact, honestly, I ended up with the drone. I left it packed in some of those little silica gel packets for, I don't know, about 3 months, and I flew it after that, and it was fine. Now, what I do remember about this particular drone is the camera on it is actually pretty good. It only shoots in 1080p, but it's pretty good quality 1080p, and it's a 2-axis gimbal. It will pitch and it will roll, but what it won't do is yaw. But that's okay. Unless you're doing a really fast yaw, you're not going to be able to see that. And again, as I recall, it actually produced some pretty nice stable video. So there's another interesting thing with this drone, and that is the controller. And this is a plus and a minus with this controller. It's got a built-in FPV screen. It's good in the sense that then you don't have to hook up your mobile device to it and mess around with all of that. I guess that's kind of Fimi's version of a smart controller. The problem is the screen is really dim, and I struggled even in the shade to be able to get a good picture of what I was doing. So we'll see if they've improved that. The other thing that I wanted to mention is I looked at the manufacturer date of this one, and it was built in September of 2020. So that would have been 1.5 years later after the one that I originally had. So hopefully they've improved this guy, and we won't have any issues with the lens. I don't think we will, because I haven't heard about that for a long time. But one of the other reasons that I wanted to bring this drone to you is it represents an amazing value. It's about 220 bucks. So for 220 bucks, if you can get good stabilized 1080p footage, and you know, the drone, like I said, it's an all-in-one thing. I think it represents a pretty good value. And as I recall, it flew really good, etc. So let's just take it up and try it out. Oh, I should also add 1 kilometer range is what they advertise, which, trust me, is plenty. This is not the kind of drone that you're going to be wanting to fly out there 2 miles. So 1 kilometer is good. So I've got it, let me get this thing ready to go, do the calibrations, etc., and we'll put it up in the air and we'll just see how well we do with it. So I'm doing the calibrations right now. I'm doing an IMU calibration, which is taking a minute or so. I kind of thought it would just be kind of a standard gyro calibration, but it's not. It's having to flip it over on the sides, so this is going to take a little longer than I thought. It did say that it was ready to fly, so I might have been able to fly it without any calibrations, but with a new drone, it's always good to get that stuff done. I'll be with you in a minute. Okay, the drone is saying that it's ready to take off, so I wish I could show you what I have on my screen here. I'm going to see if I can start recording on the drone right now, long pressing this button on the back of the controller. And that didn't do anything. Let's try that again. Wonder if I have the wrong key, or you're pushing the wrong button. There we go. I got a beep anyway. Yeah, and it's counting down, so we're recording. It's the left button long press to start a recording. And then if I hold this button down, it should start a recording of the remote controller screen. And I didn't hear anything, so I don't know if it's doing it for certain or not. But in any case, we'll give it a shot here and see. Again, what I'm going to tell you is this is difficult to see. I'm holding it in the shade and it's still difficult. But we're going to go into Smart Flight. And when we're down to auto takeoff. So if I remember how to do this, you press it once and then you have to hit OK. Yeah, there it goes. And it goes up about 4 meters high. And we're going to let the drone hover for a minute. I got to move the camera up so you can see it. And it's holding very, very stable up there. So that looks really good. Okay, I'm going to drop this camera down and we'll bring the drone back down here and move it around here a little bit. It kind of rose there when I started yawing. Boy, it flies good, I'm telling you. Look at that, there's that gimbal working, and that's exactly what you want to see. And I'm telling you, this gives me a lot of confidence in this drone. It's sinking a little bit, but it's pretty stable, and the controls are very stable. So yeah, I'm going to move it over here just a little, and we're going to do our reverse and up now. So it's off to the side just a little bit. So reverse and up, and you can see that gimbal. Yeah, it's me getting used to the controls there, moving around a little bit. Hopefully you saw that on screen, but there, we got it under control. Man, I mean, the drone flies great. Yeah, that's really good. So I've got the sticks up facing the drone, and I don't, it looks like control issues are good. We got a beep there. What's it say? Disconnected. Returning to home. So we had a disconnection there. And it is coming back. So I didn't see how far out there we were. We were about less than 100 meters. And we had a disconnect. Well, this is a good chance to check return to home. And again, I'm going to tell you, what you see on this screen, you're not going to be able to see anything here, but it's very dim. But the drone is coming down. Let's just see how. Let's just see what kind of a landing we get. Disconnected. Return to home. I wonder if I can stop it. I'm going to try and see if I can cancel. So I'm going to hit the button right now. Yeah. So clearly we're connected again. So it put it into return to home. Now, we weren't out there that far, so that was kind of interesting that we lost that. So yeah, that's the camera all the way up there. You saw me move the camera there for a second. So let's just fly it around here a little bit. Let's go towards our favorite cell phone tower here. And gosh, sorry about that. It is, the yaw is pretty quick on this thing, and I don't know if there's an adjustment for that or not in the controls. I'll have to check that out. Let's grab a little more altitude. I'm going to see if I can do a circle around this a manual orbit around the cell phone tower here. And we kind of are. Like I said, the yaw is pretty sensitive on this guy. So yeah, that's actually working pretty good. What I'm going to say is these controls, I think there's something that you'd get used to if you were flying it all the time. And the other thing I'm going to say is, you know, like I said, I don't have a very good connection, or excuse me, a very good FPV screen. So it's difficult for me to see exactly what's going on the screen. But what I can see is it looks to me like we've got a decent horizon. In other words, the horizon looks pretty flat. And the drone handles pretty good. I'm full tilt right now. Shoot, we're 10 meters per second. That's moving right along. And I am turning around so that I can face the drone, keep the controls faced towards the drone, and it's doing good. We're not going to go out over the street. And I got a little bit of the FPV screen kind of blinked there a little bit. And let's see if we get any of that as we turn around. So I'm kind of slowly yawing and moving forward just a little bit. And kind of getting a slow yaw here. And we'll see how this guy does. And like I said, I'm getting a little bit of breakup on FPV, a little tiny bit, but again, yeah, there it's getting more so. Yeah, and it's like broken up almost. It went, yeah, so I overcorrected there. Let's see if we can get over the top of Discovery Elementary over there. You know, everybody that watches my channel knows I fly a lot of drones over the top. So we're about 80 meters away, 40 meters in height. And I'm telling you, wow, I'm struggling with that yaw. Sorry about that, guys. The signal seems really good here. And this is a spot that I stop at quite often just to get a picture of the Boise front. And I think it's a good view because you got, you know, houses and the schoolyard in close, and then the mountains off in the distance. And then if I understand correctly, I should be able to do a short press, and even while the drone is recording, take a picture. So let's try that. And I'll see, I did a short press on the controller, so we'll see if we get a picture, which tells me that that's probably a screenshot. And I'm still seeing a countdown on the screen. So let's try return to home for there. So I'm going to hit return to home on the controller right here. I'm going to hold that button down. Yeah, and it's auto returning. Or it says it is anyway. Yeah, and it's coming back to us. I noticed that it didn't turn around. It simply it's faced the same direction that it was facing, but that's okay. I got no problem with that. I wonder if I can yaw it. Let's see if we can yaw it. Yeah, we can. So while it's in return, I can yaw the drone. So I'm turning it around, and it's almost back to us. Let's see how far we can drop the camera. Yeah, so we can point this camera straight down. So let's see where we're going to be here. We'll cancel it if we have to, but it looks pretty good. And you can see, let's just go ahead and let it land. I'm going to yaw it around, and I'm going to you know, what we don't want is to be on the curb there, but I think it's okay. So that's me picking up the camera. And you saw it there, it bounced just a tiny bit upon landing, but you know, that's a ways off of the pad, but that's perfectly acceptable as far as I'm concerned, a drone in this category. And honestly, on a return to home like that, once you get it back, you know, typically you're going to shut it down and land it automatically anyway. So let me put the drone back on the pad and let's take off again, and maybe we can try follow me and some other things. Hey, so the other thing that I noticed, which is really great, so the minute the drone landed, it stopped recording, which is awesome. That way you don't get a corrupted file. So I'm going to start recording again. Long press of the left-hand rear button. And I'm looking on the app and it's counting down. Ah, that's great. Perfect. So we're going to try and do a manual takeoff here. So yeah, I just got a notification on my Apple Watch. Ron Brown closed all of his fitness rings today. Good for you, Ron. Okay, so we're going to do both sticks in, and that armed the motors, and then just go up, and that's a manual landing. So we, you know, that auto takeoff is kind of cool, but you don't really need to use it. So we're still recording here. Let's take this guy off out in the field. I'm gonna see if I can carry the camera with me too. Okay, so let's get out in the field and we'll try a little follow me. There's the little drone up there. In fact, let's bring it down so you can take a look at it. So there it is in flight. That's the Fimi A3. I gotta tell you, I'm having a lot better luck with it this time than the first time I flew this guy. So I got a beep and I don't know what that was, but anyway, we're gonna pick the drone back up. I'm trying to look at the, make sure we're still recording, and it looks like we are. Oh, low battery, we're already down to low battery. Okay, so it probably won't let me do a follow me. Or at least it's in red. In theory, it's supposed to, so I'm scrolling through looking for follow me. So this is a GPS follow me on this guy. Short press the home button to exit this mode. So let's see if it'll follow me. No, it's doing something completely different. It was backing up, and I was afraid it was going to go into a tree. Yeah, I think it's in return to home mode. Oh yeah, auto returning, it says right at the top there. Okay. The drone is smarter than me. So we didn't get a lot of so it's starting to land. We'll get a look at the landing here. Yeah, I need to move it over. It was going to land on the edge of the curb here, so let's see if it'll start. Oh, it's going the other way. So where it was going to land was not a safe place to land, so let's just bring it down manually. So there we go. We just landed it. Let me kick that gimbal back up, and it shut off recording automatically. So what I want to show you here is when we were looking at it there, it kept moving over. And I think it was going to land right about on the edge of this curb right here. So anyway, that's why we didn't do that. So that's interesting. Battery life, I didn't think we had it up in the air that long. Was the first charge on the battery. So often a first charge isn't as, you don't get as much flight time on a first charge. You have to, you know, go through a few battery cycles. But in any case, let me get everything shut down and we'll do a quick conclusion. Hey, okay, the Fimi A3, I actually liked that flight. And I'm cautiously optimistic that the footage we're going to pull off of this SD card is going to look pretty good. It looked okay on the FPV screen, although again, I want to state that that FPV screen is tough, and at minimum you're going to have to be in the shade for it to work. My understanding is that it does have mounts here at the top to mount a sunshade, so I think there is a sunshade available for it, and I would say that that's a must. It's too bad that they don't just include that with the kit, because that would make it a lot better, but they don't. That's not part of the kit. But my understanding is you can get one, and I'm definitely going to order one for this guy. The drone was, honestly, it was fun to fly. I had a great time flying it, and the controls were good. It was a little bit sensitive, the yaw in particular. Now, as you can see, as I was flying it, I kind of got used to it and had less and less problems with it. It's like everything else, you know, it's what you get used to. So I think that's something that you could get used to. The drone flew great. The drone took controls just fine. We had the one disconnect when we did our initial droney. I'm not sure what that was about. We weren't even out that far, but I'm going to call that a fluke, because again, then later on we took it, we flew it over Discovery School out here, I don't know, a couple 100 meters or whatever, and it was just fine. So, and this is an urban environment, so there is Wi-Fi interference, etc. I suspect if you were out in the country someplace, you would get more range with it. Although, like I said, we really didn't have any problems other than that first droney that we did. Now, again, the FPV screen, I did get a little breakup from time to time. It wasn't horrible, and it was at the distances, and as you would expect, it's as you're turning the drone, and so the antenna, I don't know if the antenna are in the front or the back on this drone, but you know, as it changes the antenna, that's why you get that kind of thing. But, oh, the other thing I wanted to mention to you is this drone does have a trick up its sleeve. You can see there's a couple mounting holes here, and that's to mount a device, and they don't even really tell you what device in the instructions, but the other button, this button on the controller on the right hand side, is to control that. And what you can do is, I believe you can put like something that you can like drop a fishing line or drop things with, or they even talk about fireworks, which I believe by that, I think they mean like smoke bombs and stuff, so you could fly it and leave a trail of smoke. But underneath this, there's, well, I'm not going to pull it off, but there's a plug under there that you could plug in and hook up third-party devices. Kind of interesting. I've never seen anybody use it with this drone, but you fishermen might be interested in that. It might be something, and I don't know, I'm not familiar. I don't know if there's any devices that work with it, but I'm willing to bet there probably are. Okay, all that aside, I think we had a pretty successful flight, and I'm anxious to get home and look at the video off of the SD card. And again, I will post a Banggood affiliate link, and I will look up the discount code, coupon code for Banggood, and I believe it gets you right down to 220 bucks, maybe even a little cheaper than that. I'm not exactly sure. I'll have to look it up, but I will put that in the description below. Hey, so I just noticed something, and I'm going to see if I can get in close to it here. So I don't know if we'll be focused on that or not, but it does have a date of manufacture on there of July of 2020. And like I said, the other one that I had, I was flying it a year earlier than that in 2019. So clearly they've made some improvements to this guy. Yeah, and this thing has the the July of 2020 date on it as well. The box had a October of 2020 date, so maybe that was when it was packed. I don't know. It makes a little difference. All I'm saying is clearly they've improved the drone. So anyway, I'll quit jabberjawing. Hey, okay, this is Marcus Crawford with the Idaho Quadcopter channel out. And if you like this kind of content, please consider subscribing to my channel. And I really do appreciate you taking the time to look at this video. And yeah, we'll see you on the next one. The Fimi A3, I'm pleasantly surprised today. It did a great job. All right, we'll see you later. Bye.